Well, hello everyone and welcome in. We've got a program here tonight I know you're really going to enjoy. In the ex-witness world, we're all trying to meet one another. Sometimes it's not easy, but sometimes it can be. But we have a couple coming on tonight, Fran and Joe. They're making it easy. They're making it convenient. They're making it possible so you can connect with ex-Jehovah's Witnesses in your community. So they're doing a great job doing it. They have a program on the 6 screens called The Outside Story. So let's bring them on right now. So let's bring Fran and Joe on. Here they come. Hello, Fran and Joe.
Hello, Rick, and everyone else.
Hello.
So okay, so we're all set to go. So I'm gonna kind of step out of the scene, and it's always good to see you guys. It's refreshing on a Saturday night to see two people that are committed and wanting to expose the Watchtower. I'll step out and do your thing.
Thank you, Rick. Again, good evening. Nice comments on everyone. It's good to hear, especially new ones that have come out. This is the opportunity for new ones to let us know where uh, if you would like to get connected with any others either in your area or even outside of your area, because we've been doing that with more than at least 200.
At least.
I think we've got at least 200.
Maybe up to 300 now.
Friends right now. They're continually coming out, and they've been connecting together by phone and sometimes in person and making nice meetups together. It's really, for us, it means a lot. It really does. The theme of the program is, of course, the outside story, and the reason for that is um, if you're no longer inside the organization, you are outside. Now, you know the inside story, but now you need to make an outside story, and you probably don't have one. You probably kept the world far away from you because it's evil and all that other stuff. But if you're going to make an outside story, you might be carrying away with you things that just aren't true, even though it was called the truth. But the truth is, it was a lie. And so in your mind, you may feel that yes, there were lies there. Some feel it was all a lie, everything. Some believe that everything that we were told was a lie. But the fact is, if you're going to make a new story, think about this. Should our story, which would you rather? It doesn't contain all the truths in the world because we don't know everything, and so it would be a truthful story, but yet not with every truth known to man and God. Or should it contain lies? Would you want to make sure at least it was devoid of lies? In other words, how many lies would you like in your story, your outside story? More important, to make sure that your outside story is free of lies. So this is where I think we can be helpful with each other, because every one of us has done some research, some much more than others, and some have found out where the watchtowers lied to us. And I think it's so important if we can share with each other what we've discovered, what lies that we've discovered. I appreciate the call-in for this. In other words, you're sharing it with each other now. In other words, let us know how you found out they lied to me. They lied to me with such and such and such and such and such and such. I think that would be really helpful for others who are listening. Because maybe we'll find out what some people think is true. Maybe think, well, no, that's not true. And so we all get a chance to clarify what's going on. And now, if anyone chooses to call in, let's think about this.
Hey, Joe.
Hi.
Are you ready for us to start?
Well, I have started. If you hang in there.
Okay.
Okay, we're here. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, what we're doing is we're just sharing what we found to be lies. Now, if
Okay.
we
Yeah,
can,
I heard you speak. I thought you were asking us to tell you what we.
okay, if I can just finish a second. If I can
Oh,
just finish a second. What I'd like is, and maybe others would like this too, if there's a number of people, let's be considerate of each other and let's think of that next person in line. If it was you, how long would you want to wait? So maybe there's someone behind you. Being patient. So let's think of them. I think they'd appreciate it. And also, if there are others, again, there that would like to be linked up with others, call in for that too, please. We can share what we found to be lies as well. But if anyone wants to offer anything, we're listening. Others are listening too.
Okay.
is that what you?
1, 2, 3, go.
There you go.
Okay. So what got me out, what I found out was a big lie, was that, well, of course, the way they treated me, they kicked me out for confessing, first of all. But what got me out completely was when I found out that they taught that Jesus Christ was not our mediator.
Mm.
And I didn't believe it at first until I read it for myself. Somebody happened to know where it was written in their watchtower. And I looked it up and read it for myself. And I was so done with Jehovah's Witnesses after I read that. And that is so significant for them to say that Jesus Christ is not our mediator. No, they said it's only the mediator for the anointed. So I was taught by my father, and he's a Jehovah's Witness. He taught me all my life that Jesus Christ was our mediator, and we were in the new covenant because the old covenant was done away with, and now we're in the new covenant. I was taught that all my life by my father, who was a Jehovah's Witness. So when I read it in the 1979 Watchtower, that not only is Jesus Christ not our mediator except for the anointed, we're not even in the new covenant. So they just took everything completely and stripped me of it, or stripped the idea of it. And how can you go back to them after that? It's impossible.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. That's one truth lie that someone feels. I'm sure not everyone feels the same, but now is the opportunity for us just to share with each other. We're not going to go judging what is true or what's not true. That's personal. I'm going to maintain that each one of us is entitled to believe whatever they want is true. Well, we're not here to judge trueness or falseness, but just the fact that we recognized that something was a lie, because we don't like lies, and so we're driven away from people that lie. But we just want to make sure we don't carry forth lies ourselves into our new story. So thank you. That's one about the mediator. And then for each one of us, you can figure out where that fits into your own personal life.
Just to speak up for Jay said that 607. Need I say more? I think this is the Jay that we met and had breakfast with last week. If that's the same Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay. Yeah, we talked about 607.
Yeah.
And
so did they lie about
really
did they lie about 607? Does anyone? Is that a truth you can carry forward, or is that a lie? Some of us have realized that that's a lie. Some still maintain that that's the truth. Okay, but regardless of the case, this is part. These things are going to be part of the story that we carry forward, and it's kind of nice to know. It's nice to know where others feel about it too, because well, we learn from each other. We don't. We don't have to necessarily accept what the other person believes. We don't. But it's good to know what others have learned. Yeah.
So how many have read this book, Crisis of Conscience? We found out that there were many, many, many lies. I'm still reading it. I'm not through with it yet, but 3/4 of the way through.
Now, we talked to many friends on the phone and even in person who've come out, and it's amazing the differences in understandings and beliefs that they have. To say that they're all united in the same belief is not true. They're just not. They're simply not. Some believe certain things about who the true God is. Some believe other things about who the true God is or isn't. Jehovah. Who is Jehovah? Some still pray to Jehovah. Some no longer pray to Jehovah. Some believe him to be one thing. Some believe him to be another. And no doubt you carry away certain beliefs. Regardless of what you believe, I guess I would wonder is how important to you is it that it's true? Does it have to be true? Does what you believe in have to be true? Or can it just be something that you are comfortable with? It's comforting. You can go forward with it. There's other people who feel the same. How about that? Is it important to have truth? Does anybody think we can have truth? And if you don't,
Maybe Rick, if you're there, could you put the phone number up? Maybe people don't know the number to call.
here's someone. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Go ahead.
Hello. I'm watching right now, and I'm confused because there's a delay, at least like a 2-minute delay. So, Dan,
2 minutes.
Dan,
Yeah, it's the first time. Yeah, Dan, it's your first time calling. So, yeah, there's a 2-minute delay. So, you're on
You're
the
on
phone?
the telephone?
Yeah.
all right. So, I can't watch it on the screen because it's very confusing. So,
Right. Right. Yeah. Don't watch the screen while you speak, Dan.
Right. Anyways, thank you guys for getting in touch with me tonight. It was a game changer. It's the best Christmas present anyone could give me, and it's the moment I saw that postcard and read that you guys were wanting to hear from me. I said, this is what I've always wanted, and is anything that you guys are doing, which is great, is hooking up XJWs that are isolated.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to do that through social media because I stay away from social media.
Okay.
Dan, can we just give a little background? You want to give a little background, or you want us to?
On you.
Yeah. I turn the TV off. Am I live here?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Go right ahead with talking with us, but don't watch.
He turned it on.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Just give a little background. As how long you were in, when you got out, why, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just a kind of a brief thumbnail.
Here it goes. In 2000, witnesses knocked on my door, and I was fed up with materialism and everything. So they gave me the usual approach to that by reading a few scriptures. So quickly I got involved with studying, and I took it serious from the start. And before you knew it, within a couple of years, I was baptized into a cult, and I didn't know it. But I will tell you, it didn't take me long, maybe 3-4 years after baptism, I started to disagree with shunning. I started to disagree with calling worldly people bad association. I started to see the hypocrisy in the congregation of love. That was nonsense. There was no love. I did a lot of traveling and had a lot of disappointments. Wherever I traveled, it seemed like no one really wanted to take the time to get to know you, especially the Kingdom Hall right near Bethel, where all the Bethelites gather for their meeting.
Yeah.
I said to myself, this can't be possible, that no one, this is the most ridiculous, cold, unattached situation I've ever been in. I feel like I'm lost in a twilight zone here, because there was no one that was warm or whatever. But long story is, it was a gradual process that I always paid attention to hypocrisy and to lies, and could read through all of the articles. I started to pick them apart and say, no, that is not scriptural. Reporting your field service time is not scriptural. The circuit overseer's visits, see the same thing. People want to get in with the circuit overseer, and all of a sudden they all want to go out in field service and work with the overseer. And these are people that hardly ever came to meetings. So I said, this whole thing is set up as a show and tell. It started to register to me as, what if this is a cult? That started to happen only like 7 years after. But I hung in for 18 years, because it took until then to really say, okay, to pull the plug, finally have enough guts to call up my elders and say, guess what? Maybe 5 months ago, you just made me, and this is about 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 2018. I finally became a ministerial servant, and I said, now I know what a secret brotherhood is. The lies.
You mentioned that you saw a picture of what book on the wall at the Kingdom Hall?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a secret elder's manual, and it's a very thick book that has all their policies that supposedly we're supposed to follow, but yet the book is so secret that an elder can't even show his wife what is in that book.
Right.
How secret this book is. But yet, they thought it was a really funny joke to put up in the back of the Kingdom Hall a nice big painting of the cover of that secret book. And all these years, I said, I went online, I can't really find that particular picture anywhere. And that's because it was the front cover of a secret book that none of us had access to, not even the elder's wife. And there it is, hanging up in the back of the Kingdom Hall. And I had the pleasure to tell the elders, when I called them up and told them, I'm not going to your stupid meetings anymore. I'm not going to do the court witnessing anymore. I am not. And they said, oh, well, what's going on? I go, you'll find out when you come here. You and brother so-and-so are going to come to my house, and I'll show you every reason why my baptism is invalid. And when they came, I had for them waiting a pile of information and documents and pictures and all kinds of things showing them that this organization is a cult.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really say it, but one of the things they would try to make excuses for everything. But I said, well, how about that picture that's in the back of the Kingdom Hall? You said that, this is all about openness and trusting and following direction, and we're a brothership of love, and we're a worldwide family. But yet, the picture in the back of the hall is a picture of your secret elders book. And when I said that, their eyes lit up.
I bet.
I wasn't supposed to know about that book, that it even existed.
So interesting that they had it right there.
I hit face reality with pure reality. And Joe and Fran, I'm not sure if you need to cut in. Speak
Can I just cut in a second? I just want to give the audience a little background. 20 years ago, we met Dan in Connecticut. Our son got married, and Dan was catering the wedding. So we got to meet Dan, and I think then we went out to your house one more time, and we saw your alpacas, and you gave us some nice mugs, which we still have. And so about the last week, Joe and I sat down and we said, you know what? We're going to write a postcard to some of the people that we knew in the past that we think might be out. And Dan was one of them, and we still had his address from 20 years ago. And we wrote to him just a short little postcard, just telling him about that we're, being shunned, and that we remember, he was in our son's, for our son's wedding, he catered it. Well, today, Dan called us and he said he got the postcard and he was so excited. So now he called in tonight, and this is after 20 years. So you never know.
Yeah. So glad you called in. Glad you called in, Dan.
And the reason why I was excited is because I've been waiting for a simple way to reach out to other non-Jehovah's Witnesses who either left or are afraid to leave and are in the Rhode Island, Connecticut, Eastern Connecticut, Massachusetts.
Well, Rick's been doing a great job doing that, Dan. So you came to the right place.
Yeah, we know. We gave Dan 2 people in Rhode Island, but if there's more people in Connecticut, we don't have any. I don't have anyone from Connecticut.
Anyone from Connecticut or that area, anywhere around there, let us know. Call in.
Because Dan wants to meet up with you and talk with you, and
you have other friends right close to you.
And here's the situation. Watching your program for a couple of hours, I realized that there's going to be a convention for XJWs in 2025 in July, and that's a long way off from now. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to be calling you guys to be in touch to see if there's a meet and greet in person, because when people are in isolation and they don't know where to turn, it's nice to have social media and emails and things, but it's another thing when you can meet and greet in person, because let's face it, when you lose touch with every friend and family member you ever had at that hall, you have to start life all over again.
That's right.
That's so true. It's important that we meet each other in person, because the big downfall of Watchtower is probably because of social media and the internet. It's their own worst enemy now. The information's out there, and it's really gonna unravel as we speak. But at the same time, it's going to be nice. I'm going to end this phone call because I want to be considerate to others who want to come on. But if there's anything that you want me to say or do,
Dan, Dan, I truly appreciate you calling in, and you're right. People need to get together. We've been having meetups here for friends locally. We even went down to Middletown and met up with some friends there.
And we did go to Boston, and we met up with
Rick.
And then we met up with Yvonne and a whole bunch of people at her, and that was in Lancaster.
So Dan, your assignment is to see if you can find some other friends down there as well. We'll try also here and try to link up everybody, and maybe we can have a nice little meetup.
Yes.
There's no reason to wait for 25.
No.
More about those alpacas. Can I just ask Dan a question real quick? You said you're from Rhode Island?
yes.
Oh, I'm from Rhode Island. Have I talked to you, Eric? I'm Eric from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I've talked to so many people, I get lost now. How you doing, buddy?
I can give you my phone. I don't know if I should give my phone number over.
No,
No,
we'll give it to you.
not here, but
Eric,
No, I wouldn't. I'll give you my email.
yeah,
and
we
you,
got it.
Eric,
numbers.
we have it, Eric. Eric, we have it.
Yeah,
can
we'll
it to
give
you.
it to him. But
Thanks, guys.
Eric,
Appreciate you.
Eric, just for your information, this is Dan's first time calling.
Yeah.
And you might know him. He was in from 2000 to 2018.
I think we talked on Facebook Messenger. Is that right, Dan?
No, I don't do Facebook.
No?
Social
Okay, then maybe we haven't spoken. There must have been someone else from Rhode Island. Whereabouts in Rhode Island are you from?
I'm in Foster.
Well, oh, Foster. Okay. I don't know anybody specifically in Foster, but I used to know a lot of people in Westerly. It's the southern part. But I'm from I'm from East Providence, Rhode Island.
East Providence. I visited the Westerly Hall one time, and it was one of the worst halls I ever visited. I felt I was
Very pretentious people.
It was.
They're all rich. It's a very rich neighborhood.
Rich, snob, and
Yep.
Yeah. That was a wake up. That one right there. I walked out, and it's the first time I've ever said the F word at a Kingdom Hall. Coming up.
No school, Foster. Are you old enough to remember that?
Well, yeah.
Salty, I think.
It's still that way because we share the same school system.
Johnston, is Johnston too far from you? I guess it's a little way. Foster's kind of no.
There's no place in Rhode Island that's far enough.
I know, right? We're an hour and a half from border to border.
I used to ride my bike from Providence to Foster with no problem.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I want to be in touch, and we're going to do that.
Definitely, Dan. Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
all
we'll
right.
give each other's numbers.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get connected.
That area.
Dan, real quick though, someone asked you if you still had the alpacas.
Thanks, Dan.
I have 10 alpacas that I actually need to get rid of.
Wow. Anybody want any alpacas?
And if you're not totally against eating them, we took them down for meat, about 80 pounds of meat per animal. Wow. And it's clean. We don't worm. We don't do anything. It is good quality meat if you're interested. The animal, we have too many of them, and I actually need to let some of them go.
Gotcha. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a good source of meat.
Maybe we'll be interested.
And maybe others will too.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you mentioned it. Dan, we're going to be more in touch.
Yes, we will keep you in. We'll get you Eric's information. Can I just share the?
Oh, Dan, great call.
Dan.
Thank you so much.
This is the postcard that we shared with Dan, and we sent out 10 altogether. And out of the 10, we've had 3 responses. So this is the postcard. For example, hi, Dan. We hope all is well with you. We remember when you were the caterer for our son's wedding. Our life has been busy and filled with friends. We are here as a support for all those who have fallen by the wayside and being shunned. We'd love to hear from you, and we gave our phone number. So we didn't say we were disassociated.
No.
We didn't say anything like that, just that we're here for those that are being shunned. And Dan called us today, and we had a really nice conversation, and this is going to keep going.
Yeah, these are stories that you can be part of yourselves too, as you connect and as you try to connect with ones in your life that you find out. And you know, excuse me. See, what you can do is try to connect with someone who you think might be out or whatever. You never know. Just if you send out 10 different postcards or cards or calls, you may get some back.
Yeah, we got three response
Out of
already.
10, that's
out of
pretty
10.
good.
And one came back because it was the wrong address, but I know she's still in the area, so we'll get to the bottom of that one.
Yeah. So thank you. And
That postcard sounds like a good idea.
The postcards, yeah, Pixie,
yeah,
it
Pix,
is.
it is. It works good. Simple.
And it's, it doesn't cost a lot of money.
The one thing that I've noticed, the only time they were really ever right was when they said religion is a snare and a racket.
I really, that's my favorite saying from that man, Rutherford. He red pilled us right from the beginning. Right from the beginning.
Yep, he did.
Yeah.
That's the only time they've ever been right.
That's right. So the question becomes, how many of us are carrying away what we think might be true, and it's even part of our worship, so to speak, but in reality, it may not be true at all.
That's true.
How would we know?
You're a thinker. You're a thinker.
Well, they say if anyone doesn't know enough what's going on in their life, or if they don't know what's true, it's their choice, because there is so much information at our fingertips, literally, that there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. It's like somebody going to the supermarket for bread, and that's all they go to that store for is bread, and they're starving from other nutrients because all they get there is bread. Yet there's thousands of other items in there that they may need. They're there. It's there. Now is a time of an awakening right now. People are awakening. Not everybody, but there are many that are. And it's a beautiful world because of that. Let me ask this question. Do you view the world as a dire place right now? Or do you view it as filled with opportunities that are going to expand? We know we've heard different stories from different people. Some are cringing and waiting for Armageddon. Others, that's the furthest thing from their mind. Who's right? Who's wrong? Where are we at? What's part of your story? What else do you carry away from Watchtower? If you do, if you carry anything. Some continue to pray the same way. Some continue to, well, they do all sorts of things. I can't speak for them, but some are looking for the same sort of control that they had in Watchtower, thinking that there might be another organization that's the right one. Others have concluded that no, organization is not needed. No organization is needed to worship God. Some say Jesus is God. Some say there was no Jesus. Some say Jesus did not pray to Jehovah. He prayed to his Father. In fact, he prayed to literally our Father. because that's what he said. Our Father who art in heaven. So must be we are on the same footing as Jesus. We're both sons of the Father. And whatever anything that Watchtower said was just a very badly crafted story, fantasy, designed to control. What about being political? Is everybody? Oh, is someone coming in? Hello,
Hello.
hello, hello.
Hi. I just want to make a comment. You're talking about, coming out. What I've concluded since I've come out is that truth is fluid. And I think Power proved that by their constantly changing their doctrine. What's true today won't be true tomorrow.
Yeah.
And also come to a conclusion, I don't have to know and have all the answers. And that's a great freedom, not having to have all the answers.
Yes, so true, so true. Yeah, they say if we have all the answers, we'll never get any more answers than that. See, they controlled by that notion that you need to know the truth, and we have it.
Did you want to?
Good, appreciate that comment.
You want to give a name, or would you rather stay anonymous?
Yeah, we're not looking.
I'm sorry, it's who?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I didn't get your name. If you want to get it.
Yeah, you don't have to give your
it.
name, but
This is Barb.
Oh, Barb. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Barb. It's not a real good transmission right now. It's really bad.
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Apparently, you can't hear me very well.
Yeah, no, it's coming through.
It comes and goes, comes and goes.
Are you the same one that came to our meetup?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good to hear you. Thank you for calling in.
We're never totally sure when it's a bad connection, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Barb, for calling.
Yes.
We love you.
Okay. Love you too. You're doing good.
Thank you.
And you too, Barb.
Anyone else want to call in? Rick put the number up. Call that number, hit *6. You unmute yourself. It's not difficult.
Here's an interesting thing. Someone else? I'd rather listen to you than me. We just spoke with someone last night, and I didn't feel good at all about the conversation, about their point of view. Their point of view was dire. In other words, we're all waiting to be judged. Judgment, dire judgment. And I can't imagine living with that over me. Unfortunately, that person has children too. And to think that woman is going to bring her children up with that notion. And see, and this is the kind of damage that organizations like that Watchtower does. It poisons your minds with fear and doom for the future. And that kind of control ruins people's lives. It literally ruins their future. It takes away anything good that they can achieve, because you're going to have to achieve your future. You're not going to it's not going to drop in your lap any more than, income. If you make some money, it's not going to be dropped in your lap. You're going to look for a job, you're going to work at it, and you're going to receive wages for it. If you don't like it, you're going to go to another job, or for some reason you get let off because of whatever circumstance, you're going to have to look for another job. And that is exactly what everyone else in the natural world does. It works. It's worked for thousands of years. It works well now. And the truth is that it will work for anyone who puts themselves in it and cooperates with it. The lie that the Watchtower taught was that you will be ruined. You will fail out in the world. you will fall apart. You will be corrupted. You will go to the worst condition you possibly could go. And then you'll want to come crawling back to the mother organization. Well, that's not real. Hello.
Well, go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead. We got 603 New Hampshire. Go ahead.
Okay. Trying to stay on topic here. Well, millions now living will never die, Judge Rutherford. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Organization 84, and I really believe that a lot.
Well, just a quick, you came in 84, did you say?
Well, I learned the truth in 84.
So we
But,
learned it in 85.
I was going to Wolfboro, and I was associated for a year or so. They wouldn't let me do anything, so I was disillusioned until I think it was like 1990 when a Bethel brother, a brother who was retired from Bethel in Brooklyn, was calling on me, and he got me to study again. And I just got to the point where, I was kind of like cynical at the time.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I want to get baptized because I want to know what the hell this is all about. Because when in 84, when they wouldn't let me even go door to door, and now they want me to go to the Concord congregation in Concord in 1990. I'm like, okay, so I studied with this Bethel brother. Well, he'd come to me and he'd study with me. I liked him. He was a great guy, Italian guy. He got $100 a month retirement from Bethel. A joke. So finally, it was 91. I said, I want to get baptized. He said, well, he wasn't sure if I was ready. I said, well, there's no sense in me studying anymore or doing this, because if I'm not a part of this religion, there's no sense in me continuing. So they let me get baptized. I was 91 in Springfield, Mass. I got baptized. And I believe, so I thought that I was living with my grandparents. I thought that since I was with this organization, this is how the mind control got to me, that my grandparents could live on without dying.
Yeah.
Because I was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
But of course they died in 2006, which was a shock, both of them, same year. So most of the people have died. I mean, she was 88 and he was 93. So then you get up to 20. When was that? They changed it in 2013. And when they changed it, I'm like, that's a lie. They just came out and flat lied to everybody. Mm-hmm. They lied. But in my mind, I'm defending them. I'm defending them in my own mind, saying, why did they do that? They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Because of the mind control in my mind. Like this is, because they're always telling people this is God's organization.
Yeah.
And if you leave, come back to Jehovah. You're not coming back to Jehovah. You're coming back to the Watchtower Publishing Company.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Yeah. And then I was telling Rick in 2018 when I started watching. I haven't gone to a meeting since 2011. I had a girlfriend that left me, and she said, I spoke to this sister, and she said that everybody in the congregation knows that you're gay. I'm like, what?
Oh, gee.
On my voice. Yeah, she left the voice. I still have that message on my voice recorder. I recorded it. I kept it.
Oh.
And it's like every time I hear it, it breaks my heart. It just kills me that they would say such a thing about me. How did they know this? I had a meeting with the elders. I sent a letter. I wanted to get out of the religion. And when I spoke to one of the presiding overseer, I'm like, maybe I made a mistake, and I was so screwed up. I stayed in with it, and they came to my house, and we discussed me being gay. And I said, well, maybe I'm gay. Well, they told everybody in that congregation.
Oh, good Lord.
Everybody in that congregation has been gossiping about me that I am gay. You know how much that hurt my feelings?
Can't imagine.
And yet I went one more time to a meeting in 2011, and I sat in that meeting in 2011, taking notes in a journal. I'm going to learn something at this meeting. I'm going to learn something. But all of it's garbage. It's all garbage. There's nothing. I'm going to go home and look at these notes and learn anything. It's all the same stuff they keep talking about all the time.
Amen,
and then,
brother.
Meeting when it was over, brothers were so nice to me. A brother came up to me, young one. He said,
if you ever need to talk in the back room, we're here to help you and talk with you. I thought, gee, how loving is that? That's. I went home and I'm like, wait a minute, those dirty bastards, they want me to say something so they can get rid of me.
Yeah.
That's what it was all about. Why would they want me to go in the back room?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a problem, comes up, you need help, come with us in the back room. That's to get rid of you. Because I was kind of wishy-washy. I'd go to a meeting, I miss a meeting, you know. They don't want people like that going to meetings. You know?
Yeah,
Well,
boy, I appreciate your comment. You know, your story is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My mind was woke up, and when I was watching the YouTube videos of ex-witnesses, how horrible they're treated. One guy was in the Vietnam War, and he was an elder, and they kicked him out because he just said, I think I have a problem with drinking. So he said, I'll be there Wednesday. No, it's Tuesday, the meeting. Oh, they just fellowshiped him on Tuesday. He goes to the meeting Wednesday, and he's all done.
Oh, my goodness.
7 kids there that went, and none of them, nobody talks to him. Nobody in his family. Just a granddaughter who was disfellowshipped. And that woke me up. That woke me up and got the cobwebs out of my head. Yeah. That's awful. The way witnesses are treated.
You know, they're not going to get away with that. They're really not going to get away with that. There's going to be people, one way or the other, people are going to take revenge. The men so far haven't taken revenge as much as they could have for having stolen their families from them. Those men stole their families from them. You know,
worst thing. I'm watching the Australian Royal Commission, and that body member, Jeffrey Jackson, how he lied. It's like that guy just lied on the stand.
Well, let's think about this a second. I mean, the part that I saw, he said that it would be presumptuous to think that they were the only ones that were represented. Well, honestly, I think he told the truth there. It was to us that he lied all the time, if you know what I mean. I believe he was actually forced to tell the truth there. To us, he always lied. Now, that was the way I perceived that.
Oh,
if you can follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, but as us as going to the meetings and going over the literature that they are the faithful and discreet slave class, they cannot err. And yet, in other ones you'll read in the Watchtower how they're not infallible. But I mean, what's the truth? You know?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Have you done any research on Rutherford?
From what I've learned about Rutherford, he was a scumbag because he had a Cadillac. He had that house in San Diego all to himself.
Yeah.
Living high on the hog.
How about his political connection? Have you done any research where it talks about his political connection with Zionism?
No, I don't think so.
It's very interesting, which you might come to find out that he was heavily a Zionist, and he got connected with powers above him that was interested in Rutherford basically collecting people and support for their movement. In other words, it was a political agenda. We were part of a political agenda. The information's out there.
If you go to Watchtower History, there's 2 fellows, I think their names are Jeff and Paul, and they have done so much research. They've got tons of videos, but their latest ones, they're talking about Rutherford, what's the name of their, Rutherford something.
Yeah, their last videos. Fabulous researchers.
Yeah, Watchtower History.
They are tremendous. And, you know, we know that Rutherford was a scumbag, But how many knew that they were really working hard at a political agenda, and we were just like tools that they used as support for that agenda? For all I know, the money that they were stealing, extorting from us, was being funneled through for that purpose. Don't know. All I know is he was an avowed Zionist.
So that Rutherford and the governing body could have a nice life in Bethel? That's
Beyond, that and way beyond. I think it was even bigger than that. I think that was the gift for them for doing the work that they were doing. But the really big push was for a Zionistic world. In other words, for whatever land for Israel or whatever they wanted. And here they were preaching. For us to be neutral, while all the time they were very, very, very political. We were scammed.
Brad?
We were
Yes.
scammed.
Where can I find the information?
Okay, so I pulled it up. If you go to Watchtower History.
Yeah, Watchtower History, simple.
And they did about
YouTube.
8 or 10. It's called Rutherford's Roadmap.
Yeah, his ugly face will come up on the
Enduring Persecution.
Yeah.
And they do all these different episodes all about Rutherford. Everybody should really check this out because they do all the research. I mean, this is on secular research. It's not just Watchtower research because they lie. They just want to tell you good stuff.
They fabricated a religion to trick people of honest heart into being a support for a political agenda. You were used. We were used.
Yes.
That's really just a quick thought. Rutherford was writing to Hitler and telling Hitler that he approved of the way that Hitler was treating the Jews. Just a thought. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, it was kind of interesting. He was trying to separate the Jews from the Jews. In other words, he didn't like the financial control that they were exercising in society, but he was interested in the Jews getting their land back in Palestine. The only interesting thing there is, if you speak to an Orthodox Jew, they will tell you that they have no rights to that land. They have no rights. But yet the political powers of this world says, no, we want it. we want that land. And so they were using it as a political tool just to gain, as a land grab. And we were the ones that were funding it with our resources.
Yeah.
Makes me sick.
It is sick. I didn't know that until now. Told me. I didn't know that.
Now look up Watchtower History.
Yeah.
It's just fabulous.
Yeah.
Great.
Look it up.
Appreciate you calling.
No, thank you. My first meeting when I went in 1984, if you remember the Watchtower, it was about informing on other brothers and sisters. Do you remember that Watchtower? That was my impression of a meeting about report wrongdoing. You remember that one?
Okay, yeah.
My first impression when I went to the meeting was that it was all like the Gestapo, this religion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Look. They took a lesson.
And I go home. That's all they were talking about is reporting on one another.
They took a lesson from the Communist Manifesto. Really, the Communist Playbook. These people followed that. And if you just look at the way they operate, it's just so, it's so socialistic. But it's going down. It's going down. Here's another interesting one you might want to research. Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Bezmenov, B-E-Z-M-E-N-O-V, Yuri Bezmenov. And basically what he stated, that the agenda was to undermine Western government and Western culture by using, in his words, useful idiots to do the work. And Rutherford and Russell and ones like them basically were some of those useful idiots.
How'd you spell his last name?
Bezmenov, Bezmenov.
I can put in the chat.
Yeah, we'll put it in the chat.
Okay, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
B-E-C.
Great calling.
Hello,
Okay.
am I on?
Yes, you are.
You are on.
Hey, Joe and Fran, this is Jesse Gonzalez here in Yuma.
Hello,
Jesse.
How are you?
Real good. I'm just kicking back here with Gilbert. He's visiting.
I'm jealous. I wish I was there.
Yeah, we're just over here. We're listening to you guys. And I told Gilbert, I gotta talk to Joe and Fran because they're talking about my favorite subject. And he didn't want me.
I love listening to you about it. You've got a really good command of the history there. You really do, Jesse.
Well, when we were babies, we grew up in the Cold War. And I think here in Yuma, all my school teachers were rabid right-wingers, or I don't know. But and I went to public school right here a couple miles from Mexico. But we were so afraid of the commies growing up in the 70s, you know?
Yeah.
And probably because of Fidel Castro, we were just really aware about left-wing crazy. But when I was I remember always that the Watchtower struck me as communistic. So when we were studying about the communists, I would compare with some of the theology of the witnesses. And my brothers and sisters, my older siblings, they would call me a fanatic. They would tell me to shut up. And I got persecuted a lot for using the word communist when describing the Watchtower.
Yeah.
I was a little kid. But did you ever see the 1974, the Khmer Rouge, the
Killing Field?
1970? No, it's not the Killing Field. It's a 1974. It's about the Killing Field, but I forget the name of the movie. But it's about it has 1974, June 7th, the revolution. But they use the Khmer word Ankar, which translates to our English as organization.
Oh.
And if you listen to the Khmer discourse of the communists, they sound exactly like a Watchtower meeting, like what you and I went to at the Kingdom Hall.
Imagine that.
They use the word Ankar, communication, organization, just like witnesses use the word organization.
They took a lesson. They took a lesson from the playbook. They really did. My father worked for the government all his life, and he had some clearances which, prevented him from saying everything that he did. And he was kind of heavily involved in things like that. But at any rate, I would relate things to him that I would be reading about that was on the world scene from in the newspaper. And he'd look at me and say, well, that's not true. And I said, but it's written right here about them. He said, it's not true. He says, they lie. They'll purposely put out distortions. And he said, what spies are, he said, spies aren't what you think they are, what they show them to be on television and the movies. Spies are people, upstanding types of foreigners that come over to this country, and they settle into education, into business, into politics, upstanding community members, making a contribution to the society. And slow but sure, they undermine. And they did exactly that to the education system. And the goal was, as he would say, and he said, Joe, it's a commie plot. He knew. Their goal was to undermine. And that's where that Yuri Bezmenov kind of lays it out too. He lays it out as to where they were doing. And they're doing exactly what he said they were about to do. Exactly. It's happening now. And the Watchtower, was part of it. Watchtower was part of it. Still is. So do we need to be political? What do you think? Should we be political? Should that be part of our outside story? Anyone think we should be political? I know we've had discussions with some people that felt that the only way we're going to get anywhere if we become politically active. I even related to them that no politician is ever going to listen to you unless you vote. If you vote, they'll listen to you. If you say, "Oh, I don't vote," then they're not going to listen to you.
And we heard that from our brother-in-law David, because he was actually on the they call it a caucus, and he writes. He's the writer. He's our brother-in-law that's the writer, and he writes articles on the caucus. So he's the one that said they'd only listen if you vote.
Yeah. And besides that, you know, if you think you're going to get any justice, you're going to get basically what they want to give you. It's really not much different than the way the Watchtower's set up. It really isn't. They're just carrying out an agenda. Just as the elders were not shepherds, they were enforcers. They were Watchtower enforcers for the corporation. And that was a bitter lesson that many people have learned. And the same thing with politicians. They just, and police. The politicians, they work for the corporation. They don't work for you or me. They work for the corporation. And they make sure that we don't get in the way of their corporate goals. The interesting thing that I have been finding and seeing is that we follow a chronologist, different chronologist people. Chronologists they study history, but they study ancient history that goes way back before the Bible. And yes, there's much history before the Bible, much history. The Bible is not the beginning of history by any means. That's another one of the distortions that have been laid on people. The chronologists do it by the numbers. In other words, if things don't fit in according to the numbers, it's not real. And so much of history has been proven to be just a lie. Just that it's written by the winners. The winners win, and the victors write the history in their favor. But it's not true. But so much of that is coming out now. So the information is there. If you don't want to know it, it's your choice. But the information is there. And we're finding out that the saying is that history repeats itself. Not only does it repeat itself, but according to what they've seen from their analyzing it numerically by years and whatever, they say history repeats itself precisely. And so they can become pretty accurately predictive about what trends are going to happen. And the idea is that just as things are going so far socialist and right-wing now, they're going to swing back the other way to an extreme. To such an extreme that we may find that just equally repulsive and bad as what's going on now. So it's going to change. It's not staying the same. They're not going to get quote unquote exactly what they are looking for and want with all these dire predictions. The pendulum of history is going to swing back the other way. Exactly how? I don't know. I don't need to know. All we know is that we have a life now, and we can live it now and not have to wait until the beautiful new world. It's not going to come.
I found after leaving the Watchtower and not having to go to meetings and not going in service,
Oh my goodness.
I had so much time.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So I started reading. And I have read more now than I've ever read in my 36 years in the Watchtower. And Joe likes to listen sometimes at night. There's a late program on. Well, it's late here in New York. It'll go on like 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's called the
Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast with who's the host?
George Norrie.
Joe. Yeah. So one of the nights he listened, and I'm usually sleeping, but then I ask him in the morning what he listened to, and he was listening to this author. He's also a PhD, and his name is Ken Druck, Dr. Ken Druck. And his book is How We Go On, Self-Compassion, Courage, and the Gratitude of the Path Forward. And we were talking about it, and we said, you know, that's just like the Watchtower, because once you leave the Watchtower, you get shunned, you lose your family. We still haven't heard anything from our 4 grown adult children. We're trying to reach out to them different ways. But and people lose their parents, they lose their brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone. So if I could just read the very first part of this, because it's now imagine he's a PhD, okay? He says, my amazing 21-year-old daughter Jenna was on an adventure of a lifetime, traveling through India on the 7th week of her semester at sea study abroad program when she died in a bus accident on the Grand Trunk Road. Jenna was only 45 minutes from the Taj Mahal, writing in her journey about visiting the world's greatest symbol of eternal love, when her life came to a sudden end. Halfway across the world at my home in Del Mar, California, the State Department called to tell me what had happened. Every cell in my being screamed in unspeakable agony. It was a pain like no other, inescapable and overwhelming. Jenna's death not only ended her life, but it also ended my life as I knew it. I was positive, absolutely positive, that even the simplest joy was a thing of the past. And we have all experienced that to one degree or another. Some have lost their children in death. Some have lost their loved ones, their husband, their wife. And so how do we go on? How do we go on? It's an excellent book. I recommend it. It was not expensive. Go to Amazon. How We Go On, Dr. Ken Druck. Or you can maybe get it at the library. It's very simple reading, but it helps us go through the pain and loss that we have experienced with our children and that you have experienced with the Watchtower. And just another note on death. I'm not going to. I just want to say this
Good.
one. I'm not going to mention a lot of names. Well, I'm going to mention some names, but not. Today we attended a Zoom memorial service for a very dear friend, someone that we met when we went out to California. There were 24 people on Zoom, and some of them were from the UK because the ex-brother that died was from, the UK. But anyway, there were 12 people in the audience. This is the point I wanted to make. There were 12 people in the audience, and we all met each other. And I'm going to say his name, Ken Mayo, because Ken gave his number on Wendy Renee. And when we were first coming out, he was the first one that we called. And through Ken, he connected us with
hundreds.
Yes, and this woman whose
with
husband died. So in the audience today, there were 12 people that Ken connected us to, and then we connected these people to. And it made her feel so loved that some people that she didn't even know were on this Zoom memorial service. And I just wanted to mention that because how we are all connected, even though we may be separated from our loved ones, there's still connection there, and that's what we're trying to do.
These are things that you can do too. You can reach out to anyone that you can and form your own groups or connections. The friends are out there.
I'm so sorry, Ray. Ray Landry said, I lost my son in 2018. It hurts deeply. I'm sure it does. And
Can't imagine.
there's so many we've talked to that have lost their children in death. And I'm so sorry.
Our friends are the only thing that we have left, and that's a lot. That is a lot, because we have that sharing with each other. There's the trauma bonding that we share as people that went through this lying, abusive organization. We share that in common, and then of course the losses in our lives that we share that in common. And a shared load is a lighter load. We go carrying, but we have others to stand by us and with us in doing that. And it makes the world really a very beautiful place because of the friends that we have in it, and despite that organization. And this is where I have to be fair. I have to commend the organization, the Watchtower organization, for using their resources to pull people together as if in a net. They went out with their big fishing boat and they pulled together massive numbers of people. And unfortunately, they treated them badly. And they didn't allow us to love each other and connect with each other. They regimented us, they used us, they manipulated, they exploited us, they extorted us, money from us. But then they got us to actually shun each other. But still, we have those people that we know that we can reconnect with and find beautiful relationships with. We are, you are. And I'm thankful to Rick for doing that too. I mean, he's done this. We're here because of what Rick's doing. Enough can't be said about that. We truly appreciate that.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here if Rick didn't draw us all together.
Yeah. And I look forward to, we have meetups here in our home every 2 weeks. We're hearing of others having meetups in their situations. Doesn't have to be in your home. Could be at a restaurant. Could be at the park. Could be wherever. It could be anywhere.
McDonald's.
Anywhere. Meet up. Just get together. And it's a very nice time. So don't hesitate to get in touch with us if anyone wants to. We can connect you with others too. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Can you okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm not hearing y'all too well, but I just this is Debbie, and
Debbie.
I just wanted to say that it's been wonderful. Are y'all there? Oh, yeah.
We're right here.
We're here.
Yeah, my phone's messed up. Anyway, I just think it's been wonderful the way you all have introduced so many people to each other, and we're building bridges all across the world with one another. And like at the memorial service today, we were all from somewhere different.
Right.
And it was nice to see. I saw a couple of people face to face, but I've never seen their face. But I have talked to them on the phone, and I can honestly say that I have more true friends now in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community that I feel like I love them unconditionally, and I feel like they love me unconditionally. And I'm not worried all the time about anybody looking over my shoulder, waiting for me to make a mistake, so they can run and tell the elders or something.
Yeah.
I don't have that constant fear of Armageddon at any time. Now, I was a witness for nearly 50 years, and it's I'm only okay, let's say maybe 40 years. Unlearning the mindset of being so busy all the time, trying to get to the meeting sometimes, trying to participate in the meetings, trying to go out and service, and having kids to get ready, and then trying to expect them to sit still for 2 hours is ridiculous. And I know now why churches have their little the kids are separate from the adults.
Oh, yeah,
And they have
yeah.
Bible school, and they're not stuck sitting still with their parents. And I don't know. It's just nice to not have that constant stress and to be able to leave that terrible depression behind.
Yeah.
That's been a big plus for me. Is being happy. I'm happy. I don't have anything in my life. Haven't been healthy, but
well, I'm so Debbie, and I'm glad you are, and you sound better than you ever did when we first met you. I felt bad for how bad you were feeling, and honestly, you're like a changed person.
Yeah, we really have seen you blossom.
well, thanks. I know, like before I've gotten this far away from being a witness, I would have probably stayed depressed because of being stuck in a wheelchair and being alone.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm okay. I just think with everything I've been through, being in a wheelchair is a small price to pay for what I've gained. And I can say I'm happy, and I love my ex-Jehovah's Witness community, and so much of that is thanks to you two. And I'm saying you two, not you two, that you all have brought so many of us together, and it's fantastic. And I just love y'all so much, and I love Rick for all the work he puts in and taking care of Susan and with her, health problems, and being able to keep going all the time is hard for both of them, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
But at least they have the support of so many of us in the XJW community, and it has just blown up in so many more people just in less than a year. There's so many more people in the chat now than there used to be, and it's just great. It's great, and thank y'all so much for being so good about connecting all of us, because you've really been a blessing to the whole community.
Well, Debbie, like we say, good people find good people, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And you also say a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Oh,
that's it.
Hey, that's a good introduction to our.
Yeah.
How did you know, Debbie? I was just going to show folks our website. We finally got a website up. It's called xjwfriends.com, and Vern's wife helped us. She actually did it for us.
Yes.
So if you go to xjwfriends.com, and you don't have to use your real name, your email will never be given out, and on there's meetups. And then if you want to meet up, if you want to schedule a meetup in your area, you just go in there and say where you're from. And pretty soon we're going to have other categories like if you're, in need of a job, you need a room, you need to rent somewhere. A friend in need is a friend indeed. So that's the website is xjwfriends.com. So please go there and sign in. It's free, and no, your name will never be used, and we don't, give away your name, advertising, or all that stuff. So thank you, Debbie.
Debbie.
We love you.
Love you too. Now let somebody else join in.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to call in?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
This is a pasta dude.
That's the dude.
That's the dude.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to call in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said I was waiting for you to call in.
Oh, yeah, good. I hope I got my head together tonight. But anyway, earlier, Joe, you were talking about should we be political, which is a really good question because that's a slippery slope at best.
Yeah.
It is. But the point is that when the Watchtower Society says be neutral, it'd be nice if they were even close to neutral. For example, when they have the entire organization write to Putin to let my people go, that flooded the post office, and a lot of important information that the Russian people need to get done through their post office was hindered, and it was virtually an attack. And I wonder if people ever thought about that. I mean, I was really put off by that whole campaign. Not that at the time I was pretty awake.
And
then
if I can add to that, just to add to that is that if the Putin was favorable toward the witnesses previously, that instigated him to start putting pressure on them because of that terrorist attack that we were part of. We did it to ourselves, so to speak.
And another thing about that whole matter, the Russian legal system tussled with Jehovah's Witnesses for, I remember some brother that had Russian speaking skills giving a special Saturday presentation about what he went through. And that was in 2005. They didn't ban the witnesses till 16, 17, something like that. So it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't like some crazy dictator just flying off the handle. No. These ideas of them being extremists, from the standpoint of what we've experienced, is a totally reasonable assessment.
That's right.
They are extremists. You got to be kidding me. The way it's done, and the way, you get kicked out for nothing. Now a lot of people that don't get confused, folks listening out there. We know that their rules on morals and stuff are often applied in those cases, but does it have to be hard shunning with the whole family? Boy, I can tell you a million stories about that. But anyway, just to go further on this thing about being political, now that you're out, if you're not at least, there's this concept called political science. And it's basically a study of, how government basically it's a rogue thing, really. It's getting votes and a lot of corrupt ways they acquire votes and percentages of voters and swaying people who are the undecided. There's the extreme attachment party things. There's a lot of history to all that. And so you should just know about it because here we just went through a time when a complete person who doesn't have clear management of his own mind is telling you what to do for your medical safety. I mean, that's your decision. And the whole point is that a financially interested, powerful entity called Big Pharma is sitting there coercing these political people with, scare talk and everything else. So you got to know about that. You got to have a sense about how you fight for your own rights and things that are in the Bill of Rights in this country that people are just kind of out of. They actually, I mean, I watch these channels where a guy will go into a post office with a video camera. There's an actual statement on the wall that the post office allows for that activity. And everybody who doesn't want to be filmed is freaking out. They're all freaking out because it's like, you know, they've become the kind of tyrants, you know, that the brown shirts in Germany were, you know, so to speak. And even if it's uncomfortable to be videotaped in doing your own business in the post office, it's more important that people retain these freedoms. It's like right now there's this cancel culture. You should understand what's going on there because the Watchtower is a model for what's developed in the society, canceling and censoring people and thoughts that may not be acceptable, but they have the right to be in the arena of ideas. So I don't want to go on. I'm a boorish type guy. You know, I'm grabbing up some time here for you, but it's a great question.
What if we add though? What about the fact that the government, the United Nations, commended the Watchtower? Recall what they commended the Watchtower for?
I think we talked about that. You're with me right now.
Okay, you'll see it. They commended the Watchtower for supporting the vaccination. They named it. The Vax, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Vacation. The vacation.
The World Health Organization.
What's that?
Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization, is not a medical doctor. He's tired from some offshoot country, and he's out there and he just reads these AI-produced influences, you know, and it's like, it's unbelievable. It's tyranny.
Yeah.
And when he first came out with the virus and all that stuff, I wanted to get T-shirts out that said, "I resist medical tyranny." And people don't know this. I've resisted this for 40 years. I got books 40 years old. I used to go to health conventions where people gave talks. They were 90 years old. They're flying around the country. They're writing books. And the doctors are all dropping dead at 60 years old on pharmaceuticals because, you know, they're under stress and they're doing things that violate the human conscience because they don't work. But you got to do them or you get fired. And you've invested how many years to be an educated doctor? And the Rockefellers set the whole education system up and big pharma in the early part of the 20th century. So that's all I've learned. It's all easy. And then you got, what did Pharaoh have? Pharaoh was sitting on his throne, and the next to him was the magic practicing priest.
Yeah.
Okay, so those were the healers. And believe me, Pharaoh had to work with that to keep the people under control. And here today, you have unbelievable influence by medical fools. There were two forms of historical healing. There was the hygienists and the Asclepians. And so in ancient times, using different things and extreme procedures were the Asclepians. The hygienists got all your results you want because they understood how herbs work and all these other natural things. So anyway, so politics, it's just, you got to know what's going on because a lot of stuff's gonna sneak up on you. And I would agree with you, Joe. It's not necessary to be a doom and gloom person, but take your freedom and fire yourself up. There's information that you don't need to be pummeled by all the ignorant people and who are watching too much TV. So I have to move on, let somebody else in. That's your Acosta Dude segment for the week.
Great to hear you. Great to hear you, dude.
All right. We'll talk to you guys. Love you.
Okay, you take care. Love you too. Anyone else love to come in? Anyone think about anything that they'd wondered about, now's the time to share it. Maybe others have been thinking about the same thing.
I must have put him to sleep. They probably blew him out of the water with that stuff.
What, say again?
I said I put them all to sleep.
You put them all to sleep.
Go ahead and disagree with me. I know some of you doing it totally fair.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I actually, I want to say that was well put. What you said was well put, because, you know, it's something that we really, you know, a lot of us don't really understand the whole situation. And I think you're right. You know, these guys that live 90 to 120 years old, and they're not taking all this medicine, you know. And I think there's something to it. Who knows? We don't really know. But I'll tell you what, that medicine also saves a lot of people's lives. So it's a, you know, it's a tough, you know, it's tough to actually, you know, break it down and see which one is what, right, you know, and wrong. But I think you have a lot of good points. That's all I want.
And then that's true. I mean, this is where it helps to have a circle of friends where you can share things with about, you know, what did you do, or how did this work for you, and how did you handle this problem that you had with your health. The more people we can share that with, you know, the better the handle we can get on it. At least we don't have to be dictated to by an organization. Our friends help us make some decisions.
Hey, one more point, Joe.
Hello.
We got time for another. Yeah, it's Tim again, AKA Acosta Dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's an interesting point. And by the way, Fran, when you get a chance, send me that video. I've punched in "Thy Kingdom Come," and it gives me too many scattered things on YouTube. You know the video that details all their pronouncements about the jab,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Send me that when you get a chance. But anyway, on that subject, there's a talk at the end of that video where David Splain throws down some numbers, and then he says this. He says, well, brothers, after all, these are our brothers giving these statistics about this marvelous cure for the virus, right? He said that. I'm going to go on the record. I'm going to tell anybody anywhere. There is so much, I mean, massive evidence that what he said was a total lie. Yeah. And also that the Jehovah's Witnesses have announced 26 deaths related to the scamdemic. Yeah. And of course, what do they call that term? You know, the demographics of the JWs is very on the older end of things with when you get into respiratory distress. Yeah. And if you submit to a respirator or a breathing apparatus for yourself,
they'll kill you.
And then they pull you off of that thing, you're not going to hold up. Okay, so when you put the statistical facts of how many witnesses died among all groups compared to what the virus, and this is writings of Fauci himself. Yeah. Fauci, early stage of the thing, said that it was less than 2%. And when you get into that's the older brackets that die.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is David Splain and the rest of those guys in that video just lays it all out, doesn't declare that they're liars. It just tells you what they said. I'm telling you, whoever's out there listening, take it. I can prove it. Challenge me. Jill and Fran will give you my number. He lied so big. It's one of the biggest lies I've ever told.
Hey,
so
paid
Yeah.
well for it. He's
It's
paid
out.
well.
And now, go ahead.
The video you were referring to, just for the audience, and I did send it to you. It's put out by Thy Kingdom Come, and it's Governing Body, Hypocrisy, and Gaslighting. And it's got the new governing body member. So it's that one right there. Yep.
If somebody does research on that, there are credible, very credible sources that indicate the current pace of deaths related to the virus and the treatment for it are 20 million worldwide. And now let me say this. Now that we're going to move into these next scare levels on a coming possibility, whatever, don't trip about none of this stuff. But the coming possibility of deaths is only related to the expected amount of toll that the treatment, this miraculous treatment, this, oh, by the way, warp speed treatment, emergency, to bypass all the necessary testing. Yeah. That treatment is going to toll. People are dropping like flies. And I'll give you another thing. I know a guy, I don't know if I ever brought this out on the show. I know a guy who is the uncle of a physician nearby where I live. That physician is telling him, and I see him 2-3 times a month, that people in her community who got that treatment are dying all over the place. So I know that's a problematic thing, but the thing is, it crushes your immune system. It's the treatment provides immunity and then ultimately over a short period of time destroys your natural immunity. What's going to happen to you when you have no immune system? That's why they got booster after booster. And I just tell you, folks, just be aware. Do research on this thing. Be powerful for yourself, those you love. Get informed. You will sound like a fanatic like me. You will sound like a maniac. And that's the problem with telling truth.
Can I say something? Because I have an experience that I'd like to share.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you speak closer to the phone?
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Good.
That's better.
Anyway, so I have an experience I'd like to share. On a Friday, a couple months ago, I went and I saw my doctor, and he was doing his best to convince me to get the jab, and he said that, that I was just vulnerable, and if I didn't do it, and I told him, I was really worried about the side effects, and he said, well, the side effects, this is what could happen if you ended up with COVID. You have to weigh the two. And he said, yeah, there are side effects, and you just got to take that chance. And he said, you don't want to take the chance, He's like, so anyways, it was weird. So on a Friday, and I was like, no, I'm not getting the jab. So then on Sunday night, I started coming down with a fever. So I had left his office on Friday, and all of a sudden I get this weird fever that lasted for a whole week. I was going up and down for like up to 103 degrees, and then back down, then back up. Thankfully, I had an air conditioner in my bedroom so it could blow the cold air on me and cool me down. And I do believe that I had COVID because nothing tasted good. I couldn't eat nothing. It all tasted like junk, but I did refuse to take the fake test, So anyways, that's just the way I felt about it. But anyways, so I got right over it. I had no long-term effects. All I had was the fever that I dealt with up and down. And so after a week, I was back on my feet. It took me another week before I got my face back. But the thing is, I didn't have to take that chance
Good for you.
of side effects from the jab. And I totally survived, and it wasn't that bad. The symptoms that I had, and I can't verify that I had that because I refused to take the test, but
Good for you. Good for you.
what it was. And guess what? I am good as gold. It's so politicized because it's another flu. And they're politicizing it so bad. But that's my experience, and I lived through it, and I'm fine. And guess what? I didn't actually get the jab, and I went right back to work. So anyway, so I'm good.
Good for you. Good for you, man. No, see, our experiences. We're 71. I grew up with this thing called the flu, and the flu, as far as I'm concerned, is exactly as what they were stating what COVID is. Now, I don't care if somebody wants to debate that or not. I don't know. All I know is with the flu that I experienced, I felt like I was run over by a truck. I lost my taste, body aches, fever, everything. And it lasted for a good long time. And this is when I was younger. It was regular. They called it seasonal flu. Well, honestly, I think all they did is weaponize a normal occurrence that we have. That's what I think. They weaponized it.
Hey, Jill, a couple more final points, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. There are physicians. I'm not a physician, but here's some things people should know about: quercetin, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, vitamin C, zinc, and lots of fluid, and eat very light. And there is a thing out there, okay? But if you hit that early, other doctors have said that would be very wise.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. The Watchtower and all the media and the politicians, they're all in on it. But for the Watchtower, what's the bottom line? 501c3 tax.
That's it.
They were threatened by that.
Yeah.
This is started writing nice articles about the UN in the 90s for some strange reason.
Yeah.
It's just so easy. You got to just dig in a little bit and look, and then you got.
Yeah, you could spot the turn from when they were saying it was up to our conscience, and then how quickly they turned it over to how everybody's getting it, and you should too.
50% of the Bethel family. Then it went up to 90% of the Bethel family.
I swear you could tell when they got the phone call from the United Nations that reminded them that that they needed to push that. You could spot it, and they're so glaring. They're a tool. They're a tool. And honestly, just like a tool that is no longer useful, I truly believe they're going to be pushed aside. I really do. I think we're going to see them just cast aside. And if they don't continue to get money, and if they don't continue to produce like numbers, they're not going to be useful to the government anymore.
Yeah, people would just turn off their televisions. It's just that's because so many people are just too lazy. But that's changing because now as people start to drop and everybody's getting connected, some chain.
Oops. We lost you. Sunspots. We lost you. Oh, that's the time up. Well, it's a good time to end. That's it. We're done.
Just tell them.
Can anyone hear?
Yeah, in fact, Joe, man,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to reset the clock here.
Well, it's the end of the road.
Well, we make it the end of the road. Yeah, you guys probably want to get to bed, huh?
Oh yeah.
Maybe we
Yeah.
just want to say good night to
Yeah,
everyone.
if you can.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead and do that, Joe. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, are we on?
Oh, you're on. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Can anyone hear?
Yeah, they can hear.
Okay.
good.
Okay. Well, folks, we just want to thank you all for your contributions. And anytime you want, give us a call. There's the numbers in the chat, and we love to connect people with each other.
Here, I'll put it up right now in case you need it. I did put it in the chat, but if you didn't see it, this is our phone number. We'll connect you. And we had a great show tonight. All the shows were great.
Yeah. No, it's
everyone, so much nice,
the people make
positive
it.
expressions.
Your friend, you are friends that love each other. When you meet each other, you find out.
So
Thank you.
give us a call. Don't forget, we're Eastern Standard Time. So right now
Yeah,
it's
don't call now.
5 after 12.
Yeah.
So we're going to bed.
Yeah, thank you all.
All right.
Thank
good
you,
night.
Rick.
Love you. Thank you, Rick.
Very appreciated. Well, that's Fran and Joe, and we really appreciate their efforts in coming forward here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. And we want to thank everyone for coming into the program tonight. Wow, we had a great program. Lots of people coming through. We really do appreciate your coming in here and being with us. It's amazing how many people are leaving the Watchtower. So anyways, I'm going to say that'll be the end of the program for tonight. We will see you next Saturday night once again right here on the Six Screens, beginning at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. So thank you very much. We'll see you in next week. Thank you and have a good night.